3 games
Hello,
down.
hello.
Oop.
You continue.
All right. 3 games down, 1 to play. It's been 3 amazing games so far. It started off with F5 versus Hakiki Mori, a 2-1 win for F5. Then Empire Gaming versus UKN Neko Espresso. That's an 0-2 going the way of Neko Espresso. And then just now, Cafe Noir and Project EXR faced off. And Cafe Noir, another dominant victory today. Pardon me. As they took a 2-0 victory over Project EXR. Now what do we got in store for us?
I mean, we've got Calamity versus Quantum. Honestly, not sure what to expect from these teams here. They both put out a decent performance so far this game, with Quantum, or this tournament, with Quantum going 2-2, and then Calamity going 3-1, with wins and losses. So, really, it is anyone's game between these two teams, I think. And this is...
Yeah, so taking a look at these two teams, starting off with Calamity Nightfall. Zyphon with 158 kills, absolutely great from him. Zeshi not far behind at 103. Loved shared evenly for Bada, sitting at 139 kills, Wild at 140. And then that support duo of Felty and Databay, 66 and 103 respectively. They've been absolutely fantastic throughout this one. The only game they dropped was to Cafe Noir. We saw how dominant they were just a couple of minutes ago. So to be a 3-1 team, it takes a lot. So excited to see what they can do. What do we know about Quantum?
Well, Quantum, sorry, one sec. Quantum, I mean, we've got Taito there with 80 kills and only 39 deaths. That's a pretty good KD ratio from them there. And then Rekka with 116 kills total over 7 games. It's honestly fairly impressive. They seem to be one of the teams that's used subs a lot more than others, as they've got some players with 7 games, some with 3 and some with 4. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform based off of that. But honestly, I just want to look back at Calamity Nightfall's roster there with Databay 0221 having some insane stats for a support. They're probably going to get target banned off the bat here, because just looking at the stats, they've been carrying Calamity Nightfall so hard.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen the power of Loki this tournament so far. Those immortality totems do not mess about. They really help a team so much. But, I mean, you can stack so much damage as Loki sometimes. It's honestly filthy. But
yeah.
I'm excited to see how these teams perform.
Yeah, I mean, this Calamity Nightfall team has been absolutely incredible. So has this Quantum team as well. So it's going to be fun to see them clash. I completely agree that Databay is going to be someone that's going to be target banned after 172 assists in these 6 games that Databay has played. Absolutely insane stat. Now for tonight's game, he'll bring him over to Yuzgard, the Royal Palace, for our first map of the night. From there, we'll move over to Clintar again, and then right back to Yurgisil for the final map of the night, if and when we get there. And it's the first time we're not going to Hell's Heaven. How do you feel about that?
I mean, honestly, I'm glad for the change. I think Hell's Haven is a much more interesting map, but if these teams want to be playing Poke, this is the map to do it on. It has a lot of verticality for dive, yes, but it's more open than Hell's Haven, and so it's interesting to see how it'll be played about. Interestingly, these teams have chosen maps that have been in that were in the open beta, so these are the older maps in the game, clearly trying to work off just recognition and knowledge of them over time.
Yeah.
And it'll be really interesting to see how that comes into play and how that works. And we are coming straight into it now. Honestly, I'm thrilled at the prospects of this game.
Yeah, I'm super excited here, and it all comes down to what these bans and saves are going to be. You know, I know that commonly target banned from Calamity Nightfall is Bada, that Vanguard who, you know, his stats don't really speak for it in this tournament. Only 139 kills for him. But when you put him on Groot, he is a force to be reckoned with. And we'll see that ban from Quantum will be the Loki one first. So trying to take away that triple strategist.
I mean, honestly, makes sense. Looking at date phase stats, you have no other choice. But I bet there's a reasonable chance if he's good on Loki, he's good on other supports. And interestingly, Calamity taking a while to choose their ban here, but settling on Johnny Storm, that makes a lot of sense in my opinion. He is a force of nature, as we just saw with Cafe Noir.
And just as I spoke it into existence, the save there for Bada, they're gonna gift him the Groot for that one. So I think that's a great save from Calamity to try to get one of their best players to kind of set things up for them.
I mean, yeah, I completely understand the Groot save. That interesting save on the Captain America. He's a really interesting character. I think he's got a strong niche of being able to run about and distract the hell out of a backline. He's not as reliable or good as someone like Groot, like an Emma Frost, but of course, no one ever chooses to save those characters because everyone, or at least Emma Frost, because everyone knows how to play her and everyone wants to play her, and Quantum haven't chosen to ban a character. That is going to bite them in the ass coming up later in this game, I think.
I mean, it really will, especially as the underdog team in this matchup. Again, Calamity Nightfall 3-1, Quantum 2-2. So as the underdogs here, make every ban count, make every save count. And we've seen how this has worked against teams before. So the fact of the matter is that this just gives Calamity what they want here. You know, whether that's another character that they can't take off the board now. And I think Quantum's really going to regret that decision. You know, we saw this before. I think there's only been one other time it was a save that wasn't used. And they ended up losing that game. And, you know, it's a bad thing. But, you know, talk about this Vanguard lineup for a second. Emma Frost and Groot.
Yeah.
That is a combo to behold. That is so much frontline damage. And we see Quantum going for the dive comp. So two comps that work contrary to one another. And I'm curious to see how they'll work in against themselves.
I think Calamity have messed up here. I think Quantum just have the better picks and bans here. I mean, Groot, Emma specifically, those are not only the two best tanks in the game individually, they also work so well together that I don't think a Captain America and an Iron Fist is going to be able to counter it. Because it's so much time and effort to jump over those Groot walls. Interesting choice to ban Rocket there. That's potentially a target ban, because there's not much reason else to ban Rocket in my opinion. Unless it's to avoid melting through your tanks. Both teams clearly here trying to play for their tank roster and choose picks and bans according to that. Because we didn't see a single tank banned. We saw 3 saved.
Yeah, I mean, that's ever important. But the interesting thing that points out to me right now, Quantum fully just reversing out of any decision that they had made in the ban and pick phase. They go triple strategist. You know, is this a mislead towards Calamity, saying that they're going to go one way and to go another? And another interesting pick, Calamity going with a Moon Knight Iron Fist combo for your duelist duo. Excited to see how that will work out. You know, typically from what I remember seeing, Zyphon tends to be the flank for that team. Zeshi can do it, but they're both on characters that take a step back or that flank on their own. So, you know, what's that core gonna do? And again, both teams will use the cutest strat known to man. Felty for Calamity, UB for Quantum, and they'll both move over to Luna Snow. So fairly similar comps. Still, they play into one another. They'll meet at center court. Get this game started. Magneto on Emma Frost. Groot on Groot.
Instant E-popping to just get ult charge from Angado there, just pressuring that backline enough that they can't ever take their eye off him, and constantly distracting, baiting out abilities there, and using that Magneto bubble twice just to deal so much damage. And Sai is able to capitalize so much, getting a 3k with just his normal kit.
Absolutely insane stuff from Quantum. A great first team fight from them. Sight really just, again, it's all in the confidence that he protrudes for his team. He really led that charge against Calamity Nightfall in order to just fully take the fight to them, overwhelm them as much as well. And Wild back onto Magneto. So it's mag on mag, Groot on Groot, as an ultimate there. It's another 3k for Quantum, and all 5 out of 6 of the Calamity Nightfall players already taken out. And just a nightmare start if you're a member of this Calamity Nightfall team. Just not what you want. Completely on the back foot. Haven't even touched point yet, I think, other than Wild Thing barely touching it on the Emma Frost.
I mean, Siphon's choice to go Moon Knight here is really interesting, and I think it's not going to work for them, because they're fighting into triple support, and yes, Moon Knight does a lot of damage, but triple support can not only out-heal it, they can also farm their supports off it, and support ults are better than Moon Knight, unless you combine it with a Groot.
I was gonna say.
Okay, but the instant response with 2 support ults to res and then insta-heal. And Admiral Pete getting a combo off onto Groot. We're going to see the judge and jury popped from Angado, but it's and it's going to be shut down.
Well, the back and forth still continues. Wild Thing trying to grab another pick on the back line, not able to do so. So his Bada now falls. This team separated now at 94%. Calamity about to drop on 100-0. Zyphon almost at 100%, but nobody's there to touch. Not sure why they didn't get the touch off there, but not the right start from Calamity here, as just an excellent start from Quantum, as I feel like they were a lot more confident on the team that they picked and what they put together, despite the fact that Calamity knew what they were going to work with. They made that ban and save phase really count for them, but at the end of the day, it just didn't go. Team fights just didn't go the way that they wanted. Now we see almost a complete opposite shift here. Calamity now going triple strategist. So they'll put Zyphon on the Adam Warlock, Databay on the Mantis, and Zeshi on the Star-Lord. And I assume they'll have that Luna Snow to boot. So complete 180 from Calamity here. They're no longer playing on their own terms.
I mean, that absolutely makes sense to me. They just got rolled. Quantum read them like a book in those picks and bans in the start of the game. They were absolutely able to bluff the right amount whilst protecting what they needed to. Interesting choice to save Emma and then not even play her is honestly baffling, but it's worked so well for this first point. Now, it's interesting in this mirror match if Calamity will be able to recover, or if Quantum's going to keep their advantage, as we see Angado make a push with his ult and manage to find 3 kills so far.
And that's what happens when you're on a map like this and you're already on the back foot. The ult economy firmly in the hands of Quantum, and the point will be 2. You still got Admiral Pete's to work with. Tito Warlock up at 88%. The rest of the team not that far behind. Sight at 97%. Meanwhile, Calamity still struggling. Wild Thing and Bada, the only 2 with their ultimates. Not much of a combo there, not much to use. So we'll see what they can do as that Groodle comes out. They'll have to move around. Calamity trying to make the way out, but already Felty taken out. Zyphon not far behind. That's 2 out of your 3 strategists. Wild Thing next to fall, and just a forced retreat here.
As that Meteor M from Sight is just absolutely crushing Calamity every time they use it. And Angado's just dealing so much damage, so much, pushing so much, and forcing Quantum's backline to target him instead of healing their front line, and it's working every time. He can afford to make those plays because he's got a self-res with that Adam team up, and now he's forced Groot to be the backline.
You know, it's great what they've been doing with those group walls. Forces out Nate's ultimate. Zeshi able to grab one and a mirroring ultimate from the opposing team. Now Calamity has all 6 ults to use. So we'll see what they can use in order to get a victory here. Both teams go for the legendary. Zeshi on the opposing team, not able to do much. And adjacent Luna Snow ultimates as Zeshi finally able to break through. Tito Warlock will fall. Can he bring himself back though? Bada with another. Data Bay with another as Warlock brings himself back. He'll try to grab his entire team there. What can he use? Felty is through. Zyphon falls, Bada falls, Felty falls. So again, that Adam Warlock ultimate not playing well. And now at 97%, nobody on point. Wild thing is, he'll take point away from Quantum as they now all have to turn on him. But now Calamity's still very much on the back foot, has to make their way back quickly. Wild thing will fall, Zeshi on point, but he's not going to hold it for very long. And this is just a stall game.
That was a genius play by Quantum there, because although they didn't win the fight, they kind of won the point, because they took the fight so far away from the opposing team's side. And, I mean, we're seeing Sight here focus at Adam and manages to get the kill. That's going to stop Calamity from rising here at all, and as Quantum pushes up.
Yeah, Felty first to be able to take him down. Bada will take down Sight. He's on that Stephen Strange, a character he doesn't typically play. Him and Bada will both fall. Overtime will finish here. And it's not the start that Calamity wanted as the better team coming into this. They sat 3-1, but automatically Quantum showing that a 2-2 record, it's just one game away from being 3-1. I mean, these two teams so close throughout, but Quantum just upper handing this Calamity roster. What are they going to have to do to get things back into game 2 here?
I mean, honestly, that is, like, the meta elements of this match have been mastered by Quantum here. They were able to perfectly select those picks and bans to force Calamity to play Quantum's game. They ran that. They forced the comp they wanted to be ran in that match. And there was no choice but for their opponents to mirror it. And I mean, looking at the stats here, there's so few deaths on the side of Quantum there.
Yeah, highest amount of deaths will go to the Star-Lord of Anglo.
Yes.
5 deaths for him. Meanwhile, Calamity not able to push past 12 kills for Bada there. Only 4 final blows between 3 of them, including Zyphon. You know, it's a difficult thing, especially in the meta, you know, to go into this thing. But, you know, again, all props to Quantum. They absolutely smashed it out of the park with their bans and saves and the ability to put them in such a position where Calamity now has to play from the back end. It's a best 2 out of 3. And Calamity's now got to play 2 more maps if they want to get the win here as we
100%.
move over to Wakanda.
100%. That was honestly brilliant. I mean, I could not sing Quantum's praises enough there for that match. They just worked so well together. And I've seen the Star-Lord strategy of flying in, popping that E, and we are going to have a map change to Symbiotic Service on Clintar. Again, another quite pokey map, although it does have a lot of space for Brawl, especially if the picks and bans force that, because you can just remove a lot of the further range characters, and then suddenly the massive open space, it doesn't matter. It's just further to walk. That's it. There's no pressure being applied from it. So it'll be interesting to see how a meta forms around this match, and this game specifically between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be amazing to see. I mean, again, Calamity's got a lot to bring back from here. Quantum, the better team in all 3 facets of it, though we didn't think it to begin with. Now, Quantum's got that first ban again. I assume they're going to take that Human Torch away from Calamity, especially... Pardon me. Siphons looked really good on it. Loki will be their first ban, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to ban Loki, regardless of what was oppressing you last game. Date Bay is an incredible support player who, like, as Mantis, was doing really well. And it's so difficult to ban a player who's so versatile and so reliable and isn't even, like, a tank or a DPS who you'd normally expect to be one of the playmakers. We are going to see the same bans and picks so far, with the Psylocke ban and the Groot save. Psylocke ban's almost certainly a counter or a target ban. Interesting save on the Master of Freedom, Captain America, again. But he wasn't played last game by Quantum. Is this Quantum trying to play mind games against Calamity as they did last game?
Yeah, and it speaks to Quantum's confidence, not only in game 1, but in game 2. They're going to ban that Namor, and I think they're just trying to take the Hulk play out of there, though I don't think we're going to see the Hulk as much between these two teams. I think it's really curious why we haven't seen many changes as of yet. I do think, again, it will be those mind games of will we play a dive comp like with what Quantum said. Before they said we're going to play a dive comp. That's what they were saying in their bans and picks. And it came out that it wasn't. Meanwhile, Iron Fist is going to be that ban, that protect from Calamity. Going to be an integral part of what they want to use here.
I think they saved Iron Fist last game, potentially.
Yeah.
So it might be an interesting choice to say, no, we're not going to play your game. We're going to try and stop you from doing so. We're going to force poke because because we now know that's what you're actually planning to do. And in doing so, we're going to basically force you to waste a pick and a ban there. But we're seeing Quantum's second save here. I'm very interested what this is going to be because I don't really know what they're trying to do here. Interesting save on Adam. That makes complete sense in my opinion, given how influential he was over the last game, especially with those revives.
Yeah, and those ultimates being used on both maps at pivotal moments. For Quantum, the only two team fights Calamity looked to be winning were kind of shoved the other way. Now, Invisible Woman, that final ban, this kind of forces things more for Calamity than anyone else. Now, this final ban, ever important. We've already seen 2 duelist bans from Calamity. Will they go with a third? They will. The Star-Lord will be the ban. So it takes away a little bit of utility from Quantum, but it gives Calamity so much more. Zeshi looked to be locking in that Human Torch. I think he will at this point. Zyphon on the Hela. That's going to be one of his favorite characters to play, as we will see a 2-2-2 comp appear from Calamity. Will we see a triple strategist comp out of Quantum? And how will that change the nature of this game? I think Quantum was ready to play that Star-Lord, but they're not able to at this point, so we'll see what either team can do. Calamity on the defensive end. Let's see how they set the bar here against Quantum Esports. They got 4 minutes on the clock, 40 seconds before we get everything underway.
Really interesting choices for the team comps here from both teams. Rekka initially going Johnny Storm, but then switching to the Winter Soldier Bucky Barnes to probably try and counter him, because they probably aren't as confident as Schnee is on Johnny Storm, and with the recent buff to his ability, with 2 uses on that anti-flyer utility, it makes complete sense to do so. Schnee, we're going to see setting up a fire pit here far ahead, whilst Quantum take that side route, trying to push up through the height onto the side of the objective. It'll be interesting to see.
We saw this before from, I believe it was Empire and UK Neko Espresso, who, we saw this at first out of Empire. So excited to see how this strategy plays out for Quantum. Calamity already forced a little bit further down. Zyphon using that poke to his advantage. Unlimited ammo comes and goes. Great use from Tito Warlock to grab some extra space. And now both teams fighting on the floor. Bada, though, a little bit trapped here. Zeshi first on the board, but Bada able to be saved there with Wild. They'll grab another pick, and just like that, we see Calamity finally start to wake up a little bit as they'll take this first team fight.
Yeah, I mean, Quantum managed to touch quick there. Calamity were giving them a lot of space, but Quantum wasn't able to capitalize off that space necessarily, especially with a Johnny Storm with Schnee. You're able to just retake and disperse opponents so easily with that dive combo from those fire pits.
Yeah, especially when you're looking in two different directions. You got Zeshi on one side running that human torch, and Zyphid on whatever side he cares to be on. And just like that, the ult economy firmly in the hands of the Calamity team, as they are most of their team at 80-90% of the way to their ultimate. Databay, the only one in the lobby, is Tudo Warlock, will use his. We'll probably see some back and forth response here. Those walls pivotal in game 1. Quantum not able to make them work in game 2. Zeshi and Nate, or Databay, will both use their ultimates, and I believe that will move more into Quantum's direction as they take out Zyphid in the Hello 1v1. Wild Thing with his ult, trying to grab one, not able to do much here. Felty using his ult to keep the rest of his team up. Bada will trade as Zeshi falls. Admiral Pete, so they trade a Vanguard for a Duelist. Armed and Dangerous comes out, but it won't be armed, it won't be dangerous. Sight, though, will take the opportunity to take down Bada. Zyphid making his way back into the fight. 1:37 on the clock, and they are 2/3 of the way there. Calamity looking to gear up for another attack, but Admiral Pete already on the back line.
I mean,
3 minutes and 54 seconds left, and it's a great attack from Calamity, but Quantum really moved up as they will take down Calamity yet again.
Quantum with some quick thinking there, swapping after that first fight from Punisher to the Helipick with Angado. It worked so well. They were able to so consistently hit headshots on Schnee's Johnny Storm,
yeah.
and it was really effective.
Yeah, and immediately here we see Riker with a double grab, doing great things there. Zyphid up and down almost immediately. He'll fall to Ubi as a ton of space is taken by Quantum. They do not take their space lightly, as Wild Thing and Bada will combine to grab a few, but Wild Thing will fall. Both ultimates from both Cloak and Daggers are out on the field as Felty falls next. Calamity continuing to lose ground here as they're just down to 3. Nate, Databay, keeping Bada and Zeshi both up. Bada the only one caught in that Groot ultimate, but that Armed and Dangerous is going to be used to his advantage here. He'll move out of the way. Zeshi a little low, he'll be taken out by Admiral Pete, and again, Calamity staggered in a big way.
And honestly, Admiral Pete is a brilliant group player here. He uses his walls in such creative ways, and he is always looking for, how can I block this opponent off? How can I make their life worse? And
yeah,
I mean, he's brilliant at it. He's able to do so much, and we're going to see Calamity here rotating around, but that iron wood wall blocking them from even touching at the point here. And now they are just going to be in a precarious situation, as Admiral Pete places 2 walls blocking them off even more.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a nice little call out of Calamity to try to get that touch, but they weren't able to get it, and then it just leaves them trapped. And again, it's just continuous staggering from Quantum here as they take an incredible fight to Calamity, a team that's already been on the back foot for a lot of tonight. Just all the space in the world taken by Quantum. Calamity not able to bring any of it back. Even when they win team fights, they still find themselves a little bit down. Now they've got 4 ults to use, but so does Quantum. We'll see what each team is able to do. But, you know, I think the mistake of the night was giving Quantum a second game on that Groot. I know that Bada's one person who's amazing on it, but right now Admiral Pete has looked so good, but so is Sight. He gets a double kill on Wild Thing and Databay. Zeshi and Zyphid both fall. Only 2 members of Calamity remain. It's an ace for Quantum as undisturbed. They'll push to that 3rd point.
They still have 3 ults and they're about to kill Luna Snow in hers. They don't quite, but that was honestly close. The Meteor M coming from Wild Thing there, not finding any value. And we are going to see a
Zyphid using his ult, he'll grab one. But both Cloak and Dagger ult are out. We know how this last fight went. Bada with a great ult, but not able to make much of it. as he'll move back and forth. Another Groot ult is up there. We're less than 5 meters away. Zeshy, Wild, Zeshy again, as they will make things back into Calamity. They really have to dig their heels in here. A three push for Quantum is not what Calamity wants right now. It's adding insult to an injury that has only gotten worse throughout tonight. It's been a catastrophe for Calamity so far, but with a minute 33 left, they want to put the odds back in their favor a little bit and put themselves in a position where they won't have to face an OT version of this Quantum team. They just want to take them out here. They want to hold the line as Calamity finally takes some space away from Quantum, but just like that, they'll try to get it back. Bada already looking low, and Riker reloaded, pushes in.
Riker absolutely mowing through them, manages to get 2 kills, misses their armed and dangerous though, and it's going to fizzle out. We're seeing the mirrored lunar snow, but still managing to get a kill on Cloak and Dagger there, and Calamity might just fall here.
Yeah, and we see Sight take 2, Admiral Pete and Riker take another 2, and with less than 2 meters, that is going to be 40 seconds on the clock for them. Calamity taking a lot of time off there, but if they want to stay in this Ascension League tonight, they have to win. They can't take another misstep in tonight's match, and it's a very difficult thing to do. Everything's played into Quantum's hands, as Calamity's looked a little bit lost between these games. Now, you know, I think this team just needs to get their footing in a little further and just take space away from Quantum. That's all Quantum's been doing right now, is they've just been taking everything away from Calamity, forcing them to play between those walls that Admiral Pete has so cleverly brought up. It's been an absolute nightmare to play for Calamity against Quantum right now. Now they have the opportunity to flip things around on the attacking end, but they need to get 3 here. And that's going to be incredibly difficult for them.
Yeah, interesting choice from Schnee here to settle on Bucky Barnes instead of Johnny Storm, clearly getting countered too much by that E ability, just knocking them out of the sky. And honestly, Bucky's so meta right now. He's so good because he's able to disrupt the enemy team with his CC abilities so frequently and so reliably. But I don't think it's going to be able to do much against Admiral Pete because he's able to block them so frequently with his wolves.
Yeah, well, now we'll see what we can do. 4 minutes on the clock as Calamity taking this fight to Quantum. It's all on the line for them. They do not want to lose out after taking the first position on that opposite side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Immediately, both teams trying to get the high ground, but Quantum already up in Calamity's faces again, taking every inch of space that they possibly can away from this Calamity team. Who needs tempo when you have space? Is now Calamity forced to make a response here.
Forcing that Calamity turnaround, but I mean, Sight's going to try to land a kill here with that combo, fails it, and Admiral Pete is trapped in their enemies, but he manages to escape just about as Bada is trying to use wolves as creatively as Admiral Pete does, and it's worked. They've gone onto the point and then wooed off the flankers. But is it going to be enough?
Opened things up nicely. Bada with a second pick here, as they're not able to do much. We see both Cloak and Dagger ults, but it's far too little and far too late as Calamity still fighting on this one. It's just time being taken off the clock. As just like that, they're able to defend themselves. Great stuff there. But with both these Vanguards still in the game, what can Calamity do to take them down quickly? That's going to be their answer. Zeshi and Databay with excellent stuff there. They're about a third of the way through point with 2:22 left. It's not as much time as we saw from Quantum, but excellent stuff from Calamity to try to regroup and respawn. They got 4:43 to make it through some of the toughest flanks in the game. And already Bada trying to get in the face of Angelo. That Hella player up top. He's got his ultimate available to him as he'll attempt to use it. Trying to get those walls up, but both teams know how to play around a good Groot. Bada knows how to put those walls down. We've seen it before. What team can get their poke comp to work first? Now, Calamity's got 3 ultimates available to them.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Sight up here, just trying to get that poke damage on the corner enemies and forcing them to stay in that space. And then the Armed and Dangerous comes in, but it gets blocked by Wild Thing with his shield. That is going to be frustrating for Rekka, but he's already 22% towards his next ult. And Admiral Pete's almost got his ult, and he has it now. How he uses this could determine the outcome of the game. As
yeah, but here comes Armed and Dangerous. Sight takes out Zeshi there. Both teams being countered. Zyphin looking for a pick, and he finds it. He'll find 2. He's looking for more as Calamity trying to keep this game back into their hands. 3:28 left on the clock. Wild looking low. He gets saved there from Databay as Calamity's still pushing forward. But again, with both those Vanguards, it's such a strong Vanguard comp out of Quantum as they've just dominated throughout this game. Bada able to take another pick. Calamity pushing forward again. This is where we see Bada's walls come into play. As Riker tries to use his ult, but it's not going to go. Zeshi shuts him down. Wild Thing with another pick. Sight now taken out. And Nate or Databay on the backline will fall. But it's not going to mean that much as Calamity looking for the stagger up against the enemy Hela. Zeshi will grab it.
We are going to see a portal from Admiral Pete here, trying to touch just before this choke point, which makes complete sense. This is one of the worst choke points in the game to attack from. If you go one way, you just get blocked off by the map geometry.
See, but here's the thing. Bada saw that portal, went, I can make a wall out of that, made a wall on the other side, completely took sight away from his team, took away those sight lines, some would say, as Wild Thing, Zeshi, and Bada, they clean things up. It's an ace for Calamity. They use Databay's ultimate. Only one ultimate is available. It's Tito Warlock's, as he is forced off of the Adam Warlock. That really helped in game 1. With 3:33, Calamity, what has happened to this team in the past 3 minutes? What note did I miss to this team? Because this is the opposite of anything that we have seen so far from Calamity as they push things forward. But Quantum in a good position to try to shut things down now, as Calamity will try to take their way out of this team fight. Wild Thing will grab one on Yubi here as he's just pushed out. He will fall separated from his team. Calamity's got 3 other ultimates to use. We'll see what they can do.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Calamity appear to have found their win condition here, and they are exploiting it as much as they can. But, I mean, it's not going to be enough here. Quantum managed to hold, and this is the easiest point for the defenders to hold on this map. Admiral Pete pushing up really far forward compared to his team, clearly trying to play some moves, stall the game as much as they can. These have been a lot of long fights, which always benefits the defenders, so long as they're touching the point, because you're gaining more, you're stalling more time on the objective time.
Oh my god, Zeshi pulls Admiral Pete in and cancels out his ultimate. He'll be taken out, and so will Bada. But an excellent start to that fight as Zyphin now falls. 2 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock, as just like that we see what Quantum does best. They'll take space, but how much is too much for Quantum? It works well if you're the attacking team, but as the defending team, to be caught out could be a huge issue. Bada on the flank trying to get something started here, forced to put up some walls as he'll try to grab some extra damage. He's got an ultimate ready. Those 2 Vanguards trying to get in the way.
And we are going to see the Cloak and Dagger followed up by the Gruul, but it's going to be walled off and not find any value even with the Kraken impact, but that will get 2 kills, one on Zyken and the other on Felty. Trying to hold here as much as they can with Quantum, but they're able to. They win the fight. They've done it.
Yeah, but still, Calamity continuing to build. Database, the only one to use his ultimate. Calamity's got 4 to use. The only issue is here, they're only a quarter of the way to that 3rd checkpoint with 1 minute and 16 seconds on the clock. They need to do something big, and they need to do it now.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
They've got both of those Vanguards walled off for about a second. They'll go in on at least one ult here. Sight and Algarado able to use their ults to their advantage. Felty's ult will come and go, and with just under a minute left, Calamity left speechless. All that momentum that they have built gone in 2 minutes. I mean, they haven't been able to move that far out of spawn as Quantum has just run things here. They need to do something now. They're at that 40-second mark, and they're gonna have a long push ahead of them. It's only gonna be about a minute between if they get pushed without being contested, but we both know that that's not something that will happen without big picks like that. Zeshi 2, Zyphin with 1. Zeshi will activate his ultimate as Calamity has 3 to use. 4 to use from Quantum, though. Calamity needs to take space. They've got 13 seconds left. They choose not to. What can they do? They do not want to be kicked out of this tournament like this.
I mean, they're going to be forced to stay on point as much as they can. And in these poke comps, it's going to be a long fight for them. That's going to harm them a lot. That's going to make it really difficult for them to not slip up at all.
Every ult coming out, but Wild able to grab 2. Zyphin with another. Wild with another dagger, but we'll still have at least one more team fight. Calamity has to take every single inch of space. Zyphin's got his ultimate. Riker's got his. What duelist will be used here as Captain America finally used?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
No touch is made. We're going to OT.
Oh my gosh. That's twice. They've just not quite touched at the last stretch of this map. And
yeah, and it's
honestly,
it's played well into Calamity's hands. It's a shocker right now. Calamity again getting a little bit of that movement back. Now here's where things get into play here. 1 minute and 40 for Quantum, 1 minute for Calamity. Calamity's on the defensive end here. They know they have to set the bar high or low in this case because they don't want to get anything off the board. They made a big stop before. They need to make it again and force them to not be able to complete point. That is one of, if not the only way Calamity can take this game. Or sorry, Calamity on the attacking end as well. They need to push at least to that second checkpoint, and that's going to be incredibly difficult for them. Looking at the stat lines right now, you know, both teams have looked really good. These stat lines fairly similar. It doesn't tell the entire story of this game. Calamity needs to move forward, and they need to do it quickly. We could see a tie game here too, which would be an absolutely incredible thing as well.
Absolutely. I mean, with only a minute, what's going to end up happening is because these fights are so long, Calamity's going to get one comfortable fight, and then maybe towards the trail end of that fight, as a couple people are left alive, they can switch to Strange and Portal onto point. But even then, it's touch and go, and it's a very risky play because they can't wait for their entire team to reset before they do that. Quantum have the luxury of one fight, and then they can wait for the team to reset, and they can Strange Portal in. Or they might open with a Strange Portal. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out here.
And already Zeshi taken off the board, able to be brought in there. Now, Nate on the Rocket Raccoon able to bring him back. As we got 30 seconds left, this will be the team fight here. 6v6. There is no respawns. There is no close encounters. And Wild on the flank will fall. As just like that, Quantum will see their opportunity as they try to push in to Calamity. Nobody on point. They weren't even able to bring it to a third. Zyphin able to grab 1 before he falls. Calamity looking for something. Bada will fall, but so will Zeshi. It's 0% for them. So it's a 1 minute and 40-second hold for Calamity. Otherwise, they're out of this tournament.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. This is going to be an interesting one. I mean, surely for Quantum are attacking here, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah. Surely for Quantum here, it's a draw or they win. And if it's a draw, they just go on to the next map.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of good things from Quantum here. They can't lose. Is the entire point, is that they will not get a game taken away from them here. You know, they'll have to wait to the next map to take an actual loss, and that's going to play right into their hands. I mean, you've got Calamity on the ropes. All you got to do here is push to, I believe, a quarter of point. We see no switches out of Calamity. They're trying to stick with whatever's been working here. But again, I feel like it all comes down to that ban and save phase. Admiral Pete has been dangerous on the Groot, and Bada can be, but he's been a little subdued in this one. I mean, their stat line's fairly similar. Bada sitting 30, 11, and 2. Admiral Pete 31, 9, and 2. So not much of a difference between the two of them on paper. Not much of a difference between the two Magnetos of Sight and Wild as well. 39, 9, and 2 for Sight. The only difference, Wild has 2 more assists. So it's been such an even match tonight. Can we see Calamity bring this one back with 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock?
I mean, that is indeed the question. And both the teams will be feeling so much pressure right now. They've just played one of the most intense games of Marvel Rivals I've ever seen. They've been pushing and working for this so hard. We are going to see Schnee go back to Johnny Storm at the start of this
it's a lot of good burst damage,
which is what they started off this round as, and then swapped off to Bucky. It might have been because they were then on attack. So it'll be interesting to see how Admiral Pete is, or how Quantum is able to deal and cope with this.
Yeah, with under 60 seconds on the clock, Calamity's done a good job thus far, but they can't lose Zeshi, who's at 70%. Tito Warlock will open things up as the teams will fall on one another. Bada will unfortunately fall first as they start to grab point. Sight with 2 kills, with Wild still on point. 37 seconds left as nobody's on point there, not even Zeshi. With 1 member left, Wild Thing jumps off of point for a second, and that's going to be it. Quantum able to take this game, another underdog victory today, and they will move on to the semifinals tomorrow. They knock Calamity out of this one. Absolutely excellent game there from Quantum, putting Calamity on the back foot for the entire game.
They absolutely brought that home there for themselves. That was an insanely close game. As you say, looking at the scoreboard, I mean, there's nothing like majorly noticeable that's distinguishable between those two teams. And I mean, you saw it in the gameplay. It was one fight away from switching for either side. And honestly, incredible game to watch and cast. I'm so excited to watch this team going forward in the semi-finals.
Yeah, I mean, Quantum really put themselves out there. They're a 2-2 start from them, but not to be underestimated. An excellent, excellent win. And just able to keep their eyes on the prize the entire time. Calamity, really backed up multiple times. They had an incredible advantage going into that 3rd checkpoint, and they just kind of let it go. And, I think where Quantum did perfectly in that game, they took space. They took every inch of space that they could away from Calamity. And when you're playing in off positioning, when you're playing uncomfortably, it shows. And Calamity just looked uncomfortable tonight with what Quantum was putting them through, especially Admiral Pete looked incredible. Tito as well looked great, running that Adam Warlock in game 1, running that Cloak and Dagger in game 2. And it was an absolutely excellent time. We're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, our final interview of the evening as the stage gets set for the semifinals and finals tomorrow.
Stay tuned.
And our final interview for the evening here, the winners of Calamity versus Quantum. We've got Sight and Tito Warlock from Quantum. Absolutely incredible victory for you guys tonight. A chance at the semifinals. How's it feel?
Pretty damn good, honestly. I'm
Feels
pumped.
great. Yeah, that was a solid series for us.
I mean, watching, it absolutely looked like it. You guys were playing incredibly well there. I mean, Sight, especially that Magneto, you play Magneto, like, quite conservatively, and you just stall out fights so long, which is so useful if you're attacking. Or defending, even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also,
I mean,
like, the momentum that we were holding and pushing and using our ults and cycling them, and then, you know, once they use their ults coming out with the Magneto ult, that's what kind of, you know, helped a lot.
yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible stuff. We'll get to like the actual gameplay portion of stuff in a little bit, but first, I kind of want to talk to you guys about your bans and picks phase. It's some of the, not, I wouldn't say oddest, because it really worked in your guys' favor, but it was unorthodox, I think is the right answer to that question. So, you know, how do you guys go through that ban and pick phase? Because we saw both times Captain America was saved there when he wasn't used until you guys had to defend on third point on Clintar. So talk me through what those conversations are like, how you guys make those decisions.
You know, I mean, we're very comfortable on Cap in general, and our philosophy is like we like to save things that we may be able to play, but maybe it forces their ban, right? So, I mean, perfect example would be when we banned Adam. Like, we're expecting them to ban Star-Lord or Mantis, right? And that's fine. We don't really care. We're able to play so many things that saving out something to force a ban is just really in our favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely incredible stuff here. Going to that second map for my next question. What was the strategy call that led to, let's just take every inch of space on this map and just kind of take it up? Is that something that you guys have played a lot of, or as you saw the opportunity against this Calamity Nightfall team?
I think we talk about it a little bit for like space, but we like to just play left side because I mean it denies high ground, right? That's just what you do. But we're a very aggressive team. We like to push and like limit test everything. Especially when I'm on, you know, Cloak and Dagger. I'm able to detect fights so easily and I farm ult so fast with the damage amp. We have the resets from Bucky, Luna Freeze, you know, Groot walls. We like to enable our play style just to go, go, go. And once we get a snowball going, it's never gonna stop.
I mean, it's been proven in that game just now. How are you guys thinking about your chances going forward in the rest of the tournament?
So you want to take that one?
Yeah. You said our chances?
Yeah.
Our chances are high. We had, you know, some roster changes there in the beginning, and we were just, you know, starting as a team, but with the practice that we've had, the work we've put in, we've all adapted and kind of corrected a lot of mistakes. So going forward, I think, you know, we have a very high chance of winning. You know, we just got to keep pushing and keep correcting what we're doing and go from there.
Well, that is absolutely incredible and a great way to end off our night. Another underdog victory. Technically, you guys were 2-2. Calamity a 3-1. So you guys took the fight to them. A 2-0 victory for you guys here tonight. That's going to cap off our night. Quarterfinals going as finals. F5 took down Hakiki Mori. UKN Neko Espresso takes down Empire. Cafe Noir takes down Project EXR. And Quantum takes down Calamity Nightfall. Stage is set for the semifinals tomorrow, 2 p.m. Join us for our first game. That's F5 versus Neko Espresso. Then at 4 p.m., Quantum versus Cafe. After that, we'll have our losers relegation and then our open qualifier for finals, ending things off at 10 p.m. with our finals. We hope you guys join us for all of the incredible things ahead. I've been corrupted. What do you say, Zeus?
I say I'll have to see you there.